Does skill make us human? Is skill another word for freedom? What are the political consequences of defining some people as skilled and some people as unskilled? My book explores these questions by looking at the experience of migrant workers in Qatar's booming construction industry in the lead up to the 2022 World Cup. We think of skill as an objective measure of ability, but in Qatar, the political classification of workers as unskilled was used to limit their freedom, to narrow their political rights, and even to deny them access to imagination and desire. Ultimately, the label unskilled was used to cast doubt on the full political personhood of workers and to call into question their capacity for, and therefore their right to, freedom. I started this project shortly after Qatar was awarded the 2022 FIFA World Cup hosting rights. Qatar began the massive construction required for the Games almost immediately, funneling hundreds of billions of dollars to reinvent itself as a global destination for sports and culture. This drew a lot of scrutiny from human rights and labor organizations to the working conditions of the migrants building those buildings. Reports documented an array of labor abuses, from wage theft to abysmal living conditions in labor camps to injury and death. The international press ran headlines about World Cup slaves. Much of the coverage attributed the extreme labor violations to the legal framework called the kafala system, which legally bound all migrant workers to their employers. But all foreign workers were covered by the same rules, regardless of wage, occupation, or national origin. Certainly professionals, doctors, executive, hotel managers, etc., were not experiencing the same kinds of labor violations. So what was producing the extreme exploitation that construction workers faced? I began a multi-year project that included research in 5 countries in 8 languages. I interviewed a broad array of actors, from government to industry leaders to workers, and I spent hundreds of hours on Qatari construction sites shadowing workers. Qatari construction is at the global cutting edge. Anyone who has seen the remarkable renderings and now photos of the World Cup stadia can see how ambitious and innovative the projects are. What's less visible is how incredibly complex and challenging these buildings are to build. They require extremely advanced construction technology and very advanced construction skill. But the migrants recruited arrive with minimal construction experience, if any. So companies have to invest heavily in training their workforces. Every aspect of every process on the project site is designed to promote on-the-job learning. The construction sites function as vast training systems through which thousands and thousands of men develop specialized construction skill. Companies live and die based on how well they are able to train their workers. But when I asked the managers and supervisors about their workers, they all described them as unskilled. They described their master scaffolders, their expert welders, their precision cladders, and many others as unskilled, unproductive, and poor quality. It became clear to me that skill meant something other than ability. Managers and supervisors were referring to a political category. Unskilled was a subordinate political status through which those migrants described as unskilled were dehumanized and described as not having the full capacity for freedom. Their exploitation was made to seem inconsequential and unavoidable. As I began examining skill not as a measure of ability, but rather as a political category, it became clear to me how the politics of skill shaped all aspects of social and political life in Qatar. The book examines these facets one by one, from law to urban planning to climate change. In the conclusion, I point to the way that the politics of skill, which are so visible in Qatar, also structure many other national and transnational contexts.